Okay, what's going on, everybody? I'm Stephen Skakandy with the Skakandy Group at LPT, and my good colleague and Marine Corps buddy here, Terry Trexler.
Yep.
Skak
Awesome.
and Trex. We're back
I love
again.
it. Love it, man. Love it. Good stuff.
I like that. We'll have to come up with some kind of logo with like Tyrannosaurus Rex arms, and go from there.
We'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. Cool, man.
So anyway, I'm glad you joined us today. I wanted to discuss something that I thought was pretty interesting, very timely. And believe it or not, a lot of people don't know this. It actually has a lot to do with real estate. Can you guess what it is?
Guess it could be almost anything. Right?
Exactly.
I mean,
and
you tell me.
ta-da!
Oh,
We're gonna talk about Jake Paul and Julio Cesar Chavez and their little Junior, that's right. Excuse me, no disrespect to Senior, who was a boxing legend. His son, followed in his footsteps, but, when you live in a shadow as large as the ones that his father cast, it's hard to live up to that. I mean, who do we know from our history? It's like that, Chesty Puller, right?
Yeah, right.
Chesty Puller Jr., great book, Fortunate Son, if anyone has ever read it. But obviously, when your dad is like the center of the universe, it's very hard to live up to that.
Yeah.
Did you get to see that fight on Saturday night at all?
I saw most of it. I didn't.
Okay.
I was like, I don't know if I want to pay for it. Like, I have a feeling, but this guy. We know, like, Jake Paul's done his thing as a former YouTuber, right? But now he's fighting these guys that are, they're retired. Tyson was 60 years old, and I'm still not sure about that fight. But
so did you actually pay to watch, or did you go to somebody else?
No. I caught it on somebody else's here and there. So.
Well, I was telling somebody earlier, because I boxed at VMI, and I'm a big boxing fan. And I remember back in the '90s. Do you remember when Tyson first came out of prison? His first kind of tune-up fight was Hurricane Peter McNeely. Do you remember that one?
Yes.
So what my best friend from high school was, we got together and they actually paid. He and his dad paid for the pay-per-view. They had me and my dad come over. We watched the fight. I remember his dad being livid because, in the early 90s, that pay-per-view was pretty expensive for its time, and the fight was over like that,
Yeah.
McNeely came out and he basically charged him. I guess he thought he was playing football, and then it was all downhill from there.
Yeah.
So
I'm not charging Tyson.
So because of that, I didn't pay for this. And as far as the Tyson fight concerned, we'll come back to that in a minute. I think I've cracked the case on that one.
Mm-hmm.
But for this one, I was kind of like, granted, Julio Cesar Chavez is not his dad, but he really didn't throw any blows until round 8.
Right.
And then when he did, Jake was kind of like, what do I do with this guy,
Yeah.
So I'm going to go out on a limb here and say that the fix is in, So if any of Jake Paul's people are seeing that, I know I'm going to get served. But a lot of people don't realize this. Jake is doing something, he's not doing anything good for boxing, but he's actually doing something really good for himself. And I didn't know if you were aware of this, Terry. But he actually is taking his winnings and he's putting it into real estate.
Yeah. I read something about that just a few days ago, right after the fight. His last purchase was like some massive ranch, I believe.
So basically, and we've been telling people to do stuff like this for years, right? You get that bonus from work or something like that, and you put it into real estate. And I know Jake Paul probably doesn't want to talk to us individually, but I think some of the people out there listening might be wondering about, two fellas that might be willing to help. I don't know. Can you think of anyone like that?
Yeah, no doubt. It's not the two behind you.
That's right. It's this guy and that guy, Terry, right there. Yeah. Right. And if it just so happens you're in, Boise, Idaho, or Schenectady, New York, or something like that, we happen to know people through our LPT network, nationwide, and even worldwide now. We're in Canada, and I think that RP is trying to start some stuff in Europe as well right now.
Yeah, no doubt. And there, I mean, there's also just the people we've worked with over the last couple decades, right? That may not be with us officially, but we're still friends, and they're at other brokerages, and there's still some good ones out there. But yeah, our hub, like you said, it's LPT, but overall, I mean, I know you got tons of friends and contacts all over the country, in and out of the company, and likewise. And not to mention our Marine Corps friends, right, from back in the day. So
Absolutely.
yeah, that's what connects us, even more so than real estate. So for sure. But yeah, I mean, I've seen like that's what Jake Paul's doing. I mean, that's what I don't know the percentage off the top of my head, but so many people have built wealth either through real estate or using it to grow their wealth, so to speak. And
absolutely,
yeah, any high-end person or person that attends to be that, man, like they're buying real estate.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. I mean, you know, people need a place to live at the end of the day. I mean, shelter is one of the three basic things: food, water, shelter.
Yeah,
so
for sure. And it's I did see this. I wish I would have paid it, because I wasn't sure where we were going with this, but I read something the other day that people, and it might be wrong, but people like, it may not be Zuckerberg or anything like that, but these guys that have billions, they are actually taking out home loans as opposed to paying cash because of the tax benefits of it, you know? And they're starting to come to terms with, hey, you know, when you're young and you first get all that money, maybe it's great to say I paid cash for all this, but hey, the smarter thing, take out a home loan, write off the interest, and that's what I saw some of these crazy wealthy people are starting to do. So another thing.
Oh, that's a great point. I can't tell you how many people I've talked to. I know you do too. Everyone's like, yeah, I paid cash for my truck. But what they didn't tell you is that's not a $5,000 truck. That's a $70,000 truck out there. And it's like, how long did it take you to work up to $70,000, and then you drive it off the lot?
Yeah.
I forget how much it depreciates just driving it off the lot, but isn't it like 15%, 18% right off the bat?
Yeah, it's something insane for sure. Yeah.
So
I don't even know. But yeah, this whole going back to the fight thing, I was just thinking about this too, 'cause I was looking at you know, because he's fought, what is he? Sorry, I got two screens. I'm looking, I'm like, I think he's 12-1 now. And now some of those guys, like, so be it, you know, a lot of them have been through their heyday. Like, they've been through it, they hit their peak, and they've come back down. And, you know, he's picking them. He's smart, but I think, did you see who he challenged now?
No, I missed that. Who did he challenge now?
He said Anthony Joshua.
Ooh.
That's a real boxer. Like, these other guys are real boxers.
Yeah.
But Anthony Joshua is his size. Anthony Joshua knocks people out. So I don't know. He might be biting off. I think he's really biting off more than he can chew on that one. So.
Well, there's been a movement on social media. Have you ever heard of Kenzie Morrison?
I've heard of it. Heard of him, but don't know any details.
Okay, if you remember back in the day, this would have been like early 90s. He was actually in, I guess it was Rocky V, Tommy Morrison.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
So Tommy's son is Kenzie Morrison, and Kenzie is actually a bare knuckle
Bare
fighter.
knuckle, right? I saw that. Yeah.
So, and by the way, he's a hell of an athlete. He's got a lot of his dad's, you know, moves and things like that. And he called Jake out big time on social media, and that was going all over the place. So I'm interested to see if that's a fight that gets picked up, because Kenzie is no joke, especially with the bare knuckles. I mean, that's just a different way to do stuff when you don't have these big honking gloves protecting your hands.
Yeah, or the face of the other person.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
Well, that's true too, but I mean, you know, it's definitely, so if you remember back in the day, the boxing stance was kind of like this, right?
Right.
And the reason why that was to protect more of the midsection, because everything was bare hands, and if you punch somebody in the head, you're probably going to break your hand. You know, then with the gloves, a lot more head shots. That's why, you know, we're more like this now to protect the head, cover up, that type of thing. Right. So it's amazing that, you know, boxing has evolved a lot, you know, since, you know, the bare knuckle days. So, yeah, I mean, you punch somebody in the head. Yes, it's bad getting hit in the head. You know, we saw that with Muhammad Ali watching Sesame Street to relearn his ABCs. But, you know, if you don't hit just right, and if your hand's not wrapped just right, you will break your hand, you know?
Yeah.
So.
And I mean, tie it back again, because now we're talking about, I love real estate and I love sports, especially boxing and things like that. I actually did kickboxing for a couple of years.
There you go.
Yeah, so that was when my son was young and we did it. He hated it in the beginning. He liked it a little bit towards the end, but eventually it just wasn't his thing. And then I got, life or whatever. But yeah, I did that. But just like the boxing, you talked about like hurting yourself.
Yeah.
That's the truth. Like even in real estate, like if you don't come prepared, whether you're a client, whether you're, because you should be listening to your coach or your agent, right? Because they've been there, done that. I know you got 20 years experience. So, I mean, that's probably somebody to kind of go with that's been doing it day in and day out and not just part-time. Nothing against part-timers, but I mean, it's a massive decision, right? It's a massive decision.
It is. And I think that's not just in real estate. I think that's in everything now. I think that this thing right here has made everybody, an expert. And I think that information is good and having access to information is good. But, to have wisdom, you need not just information. I think you need, knowledge, and knowledge comes from experience and trying things. And I mean, yes, I can go in a couple seconds, I can Google XYZ topic, but that just gives me a little bit more information about that topic or widgets, shall we say, and it doesn't make me an expert. I think a lot of people confuse that. And that's unfortunate because you're right. A lot of people get, in sticky situations. Take a topic that we're seeing more and more of right now, in my market, short sales, First of all, I wish we would just change the name because everybody hears that and they think,
long sale.
It'll be so quick and then we'll be done. And it's like, no.
That's the opposite.
Yeah, it just takes longer. And I seriously bring into question a lot of times if banks really are incentivized to see these things through, I think a lot of times they're not for whatever reason. And, somebody that has a gun to their head, in our markets, military markets where you have people that, hey, I got to get ready to go to training. I got to get ready to deploy, whatever the case might be. You might not be able to be on the hook for, an extra 60, 90, 180 days. So I don't know. I mean, it's something you want to go into not lightly, that's for sure.
Yeah, those things definitely take some time, and it never fails. 99% of people that hear that term for the first time, so no.
We'll be in and out in days.
Yeah, not so. It's a not so short sale.
No.
It's a not so short sale. Yeah, and it's just so everybody knows, it's called a short sale because the bank is getting shorted on the amount they're owed. So if anybody's watching and has questions about that, they're getting shorted on the amount they're owed, and they may take less. So they may be taking a hit. They should be. Otherwise, it's going to be probably going foreclosure if nothing happens. So, but yeah.
I will say this again, anybody watching, a great way to maybe avoid something like this is even if you get orders to go somewhere else, to continue to pay your mortgage, just because you can really get yourself in a pickle, otherwise, especially, depending on your military occupational specialty, if you have a short sale on your records and maybe it turns into a foreclosure, I mean, you could lose your security clearance. And that's good luck getting promoted and things like that. So there's a bevy of reasons why you can't go down that road lightly. So
no, I agree. And that's a scary thing because so many people are like, I'm just going to throw up my hands and walk away. Well, there's a lot of repercussions that can come of that. You mentioned one that's huge for the military people. I mean, I had a secret clearance. I could have lost that if I was in that situation back in the day. And then, not to mention other people are like, well, it's not really going to affect me. Well, it's going to destroy your credit for one. I mean, that's the other thing. And you're going to have to rebuild that. And you're not buying a house tomorrow after that's done because you just showed the bank, the credit people that, hey, you're not even trying to keep your bills straight. You just raised your hands and gave up. So that can be a massive problem too. There are programs out there, but those are tricky. I'll say that. So. Right.
And of course, those programs do take into consideration the fact, like you said, if you just throw your hands up and say the heck with it. I mean, you're more likely to get help if, you legitimately had a situation, life happened, medical, whatever. But if you just are kind of like, well, heck with it, I'll just play the system, they definitely come down harder on those people. You know, I had a young man that say, look, I'm not going to buy a house again. I don't care. I'm just going to say the heck with it, call it a day, and then that'll be it. And I said, well, wait a second. You're probably going to have to rent somewhere. You're probably going to have to buy a car. I mean, you're still going to need credit, you know? And he's like, well, I have this RV and I can just drive around in that. And I'm like, yes, but it's going to wear out. You're going to, eventually, you're going to need credit.
Yeah.
So
people think in their current situation, and especially, you know, I'm going to talk about us guys for a second, because especially being military, both of us, you know, we think sometimes, even if you're not military, us guys are like, I'll be fine. I'm just going to sleep in my camper. Well, at some point in your life, you might meet someone that does not want to sleep in your camper.
Right.
You know, so life can change. Or say you have a little one that comes on, you know, unexpected. The camper's not so much fun. It's fun on a weekend, but not fun for a lifestyle a lot of times.
No, not the little one, that's for sure.
Yeah. So it's kind of, and honestly, this whole boxing thing has me keep going back thinking of it. So if the bank's coming at you and swinging at you and saying, where's my money? If you're just like, meh, you're gonna get knocked out. It's gonna hurt.
Now is not the time to quote Tyson. Yeah, everyone has a plan till you get hit in the mouth.
Right. Right. You better start bobbing and weaving and throwing a punch here and there to try and get them off your back. And that's where having somebody like Stephen or myself or whatever, you know, we can help. We can help. We've helped others. We've done it. And you know, this boxing match is, I mean, you know, sports like this are definitely a passion of both of ours. You know, we love them
100%.
equally, but it's also real estate. And if connecting the two, I mean, you just got to think about it from that standpoint sometimes. And if you're not a big boxing fan, just think of sports. I mean, in general, you gotta play defense on sports. You gotta play offense. You know, same thing in real estate, in my opinion.
100%, 100%. And I don't care if your sports, you know, soccer or basketball, or maybe, you know, you're a chess playing champion. Same thing. You gotta play offense and defense there too. So
yeah. And you take the shots, right? And like, I looked at a stat, or if I can remember it right, even in this fight, it was like, I mean, I got the stats over here somewhere. So he threw, like, he had landed a third of his punches almost, right? So, and it's funny, it's almost a third, because like the highest batting average ever was a little over a third, probably somewhere in that. And then like basketball, I forget, like Jordan said, I shot almost 9,000 shots and change, and I made, I don't know, say 4,000. I'm just going off because I know his percentage is somewhere in the 40s.
Right.
It's wild. It's a third to half in almost all sports that makes you the greatest. You know, so you're not going to win them all, but you got to take plenty of shots and chances to do that, to do well, and even in real estate.
100%.
So,
but I think that number holds true for life, because look, Independence Day is coming up, and depending on when people see this, it might be after Independence Day. But if we go back to our revolution, you know, you had, the country was basically split into thirds. You had a third of the people that were loyal to England. You had a third of the people that just didn't care. They were living their life. And then there was a third of the people that were, hey, let's do this independence thing. Let's be our own country. And then they were able to convince most of the other third of the people that didn't care, or at least the majority of them, to do something. And that's how, you know, I'm oversimplifying, of course, but that's how it was done. So
yeah, and it's funny you brought that up, because that makes me think of something I heard. You know, I started getting out there, like in real estate at first I kept to myself, but then I started trying to push myself out there more. And people like, you know, why do you do that? Like, I'm too nervous. I don't want to like put myself out there because people are going to have comments. And then someone came to me and said, you know what? That's fine, because if people aren't talking about you, you're not doing enough, first off. And then there's always going to be three types of people in your life. And it's exactly kind of what you were just saying about even the revolution. People that are going to love you, people that are going to hate you, and another group of people that just don't care.
Yeah.
And they can be kind of pushed to either side or pulled to either side with the right person. But there's always three people, no matter who you are, whether you're the president, any president. I'm not picking sides, but any president has the people that love them, hate them, and the ones that are just like, just do whatever. I just need to do my life. And then a president, a sports person, people had an issue with Princess Diana, right? Like, they had an
Yeah.
issue with Teresa, so they had a problem with Jesus Christ. So I'm not that.
Yeah,
So,
that's a good point. I mean, people forget a lot of people had a problem with him. I mean, look at the Romans, right? Because like,
Right.
who is this guy, this rabble
Yeah.
rouser causing trouble? So
Yeah, you're never gonna make everybody happy, ever.
no, no, and if you do, you're probably boring and
Right.
forgettable and stuff like that. Although, what was his name? David Gliff broke that theory with Bee Gees, right? Everybody loved the Bee Gees.
Yeah, I don't know. You might have to reevaluate that one. Maybe not more. Maybe not more.
Yeah, that's true. Most people
yeah.
are probably like, "Who are the Bee Gees?"
Yeah, I'm sure. Yeah,
You gotta look them up.
I don't know if they're gonna be that.
Well, funny you should mention that. Somebody has way too much time on their hands, and they're like, they're mashing songs together, and it's absolutely brilliant what they're doing. Somebody took AC/DC Back in Black, and they merged it with the Bee Gees Staying Alive.
Oh wow!
And it's incredible. And somebody also did. Oh gosh, what was that? The guy with the dreadlocks that sang a lot of reggae. Bob Marley. Somebody took a Bob Marley song, "Stand Up for Your Rights," and they mixed it with. It was the same guy that did this, by the way. Mixed it with Billy Idol's "Rebel Yell."
Oh wow!
Yeah. And it's amazing, and I highly recommend both of them.
No, it's funny. I look those things up sometimes because someone turned me on to the mashups, and I started looking them up. I'm like, mashups, and I just start going through them. I'm like, like, oh my god, that's awesome. Yeah, and there's so many of them that I never would listen to one of the songs on its own.
Oh yeah,
put them together. I'm like, okay, I can listen to this. I can listen to this. But yeah, for sure, it's wild, to say the least, what they're doing. And I love that, you put this up there because, I mean, first off, I love boxing. And then and it's funny, like, Jake Paul's one of those guys, like, he's a YouTuber and he put himself out there and, he's gotten pretty good, in my opinion. Like, he's doing it. But we'll see if he fights a current fighter.
Yeah, and I will say this, I love that he's getting money back into boxing because for years, UFC changed everything in the early 90s. I mean, we weren't ready for that because there was no internet and people were like, hey, my art's Taekwondo, your art's garbage, or my art's this, your art's garbage. And I think it was Judo Gene LaBelle. He trained Ronda Rousey. He was a stuntman for years. He was what they called the heavy. So if you go to the dojo and there was a guy that like caused trouble, they'd have Gene come out and just smack him around a little bit. Right. Well, Gene's like, hey, at the end of the day, the strikers, they got to learn to grapple, and everybody's got to be doing a little bit of everything. But, when that happened, like money just went out of boxing, and it's been out of boxing for a long time. And it's a shame because we've had some tremendous boxers like, he's Russian. He's aged out now, but they were brothers. Klitschko, yes. Yeah. I mean, Klitschko, people like, beast. I feel like he doesn't get enough respect, but I mean, he was a beast. And there's been some other guys throughout the last few years that I feel like they haven't gotten their dues, right? Yeah. So Jake is like resurrecting some of these careers, and I hate to say it, but as we know, Tyson made some mistakes with his money over the years. So Paul came along and made him an offer he couldn't refuse. And, he kind of threw his legacy away, so to speak, because look, power doesn't leave you. And I still submit to you that Tyson still has a lot of power. And he didn't move like he once did because, age is a factor and aerobic threshold and things like that, but power's still there. Yeah. And I mean, if he had let loose with a couple of his punches, I'm sorry, Jake would have been down for the count.
Yeah, I can't help but think that because he's 60 years old. It's funny to think that I'm 10 years away from him, but still 60. I don't care if I'm 20 years old. I'm not. If I see Tyson, nope.
Well, power doesn't leave you. I mean, unfortunately, George Foreman just died. George Foreman, another great. George Foreman had heavy hands, and even as an old man, he still had heavy hands.
He did.
He could still hurt you if he connected.
Right.
And that's why I'm like, I watched that, and I was ill after watching that fight.
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of watching it either. I saw that whole thing. I was
Yeah.
like,
I didn't pay for it either. I went to a restaurant and bar/restaurant here in Jacksonville, and enjoyed it there. They were happy to get my money, and I was happy that I could get a decent meal, and unfortunately watch a horrible fight.
right,
That's what it was.
It was. God, it's bad. But yeah, I mean, back to your initial topic, like these guys, any of these people, and anybody that you know of that's really has something that's buying real estate, right? They're buying real estate. It's not like someone gets to a point like, oh, I have enough money, I don't need to buy any real estate. That doesn't happen. It doesn't happen.
It doesn't. Not at all.
Jeff Bezos, anybody, they all own real estate because it's one of the safest. Sure, it can go down, but it's even like the recession 15 years ago, things went down, but they're back and they're more. So it's over time, they're not making more land.
No, not unless you Dubai with that beautiful Palm Island, right?
I know how they do it, but the amount of work and money and
maintenance too, because Mother Nature's not like, oh yeah, you built this, we'll just leave this alone. No.
Right. If you think about it, man, I'm up here in Virginia Beach. You're down there around the Jacksonville market. We've got that beautiful piece of land that it keeps losing parts of it called Outer Banks.
Yeah.
Just a little sliver. And those guys are doing that at a grand scale all the time.
Yes.
So yeah, the maintenance, good point on that one, because geez, I don't know if I'd want to be in a hotel alone, some of that stuff that goes however many stories in the air. I just don't trust it.
Well, yeah, that's a very good point. And I was just thinking, going back to, these guys owning land, somebody said, well, what about Elon Musk? Elon Musk says, oh, you shouldn't buy a home. Well, Elon Musk might have said that, but all these rocket sites that he's got, these spaceports, he owns all that land. So he still owns real estate. Right. He's just not telling you what he owns. And people are taking that comment out of context, Out of context, And that's where we're at.
And the funny thing, because I looked a little bit into him saying that stuff a while back, and maybe he's not that person that's going to own a primary residence, and I don't know if he does or not, but that's the interpretation I got from what I could find. But he's like exactly what you said. He still knows to function. His Tesla factories, his rockets, his everything needs a place to put it down. Mm-hmm. It would be interesting to see. I think he probably owns a lot of that land the stuff's on. I could be wrong in some situations, but he definitely owns real estate. He may not own a primary, and people can debate all that all they want because you're the one paying that down. I still think it's a great idea to own a primary because then you can never be kicked out, or you're not at the mercy of your landlord telling you to go, and you do get tax benefits. That's why every other billionaire or millionaire out there is owning real estate. But yeah, he's one freak of nature that did say that, but he still owns it. He still owns real estate.
Absolutely. And for him, it's really big. A lot of people don't pay attention to his boring company, and it's not like boring as in bored, but he was sitting in traffic in LA, and he came up with the idea of digging tunnels out and high-speed rail system and whatnot underground. And he had to buy subsurface rights in order to do that because, they're not just going to, dig underground. Right. Because technically, if you own the land and you own the building that's on the land, you also own the subsurface rights under your building.
Yeah.
So California might be a little different with their rights.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe we won't go there today. Yeah.
They're their own country in some situations almost, so we'll see. That's a whole other video. We'll have to bring in some of our California agent friends and other friends to talk on that. So, but for sure, man, for sure. But yeah, this is great, man. I'd love to hop on again sometime.
Let's do that. But thank you so much for joining us today. And before we go, let's make sure everyone knows how to contact us. So Terry, what's the best way they can get a hold of you in the Virginia Beach area?
Yeah, the best way, really, you can call I'll give you two phone numbers. One, you can call the office at 757-891-1111. Made it real simple for everybody. And then my direct number, I'm still giving out for a little bit, is 757-255-8739. Definitely text me first, and that'll be the best way. But yeah, Virginia Beach is my home. Been here my whole life outside of the 6 years I did in the Marine Corps. And
in the Jacksonville, North Carolina area, I might add.
yeah, I was stationed down there for 5 years and spent one in 29 Palms. So yeah, God, seems like a lifetime ago, but I still got some great friends that, man, they stuck it out 20 years, 30 years, and man, it doesn't seem like it's been that long because it still sticks with you, right? It still sticks.
Ain't that the truth? Matter of fact, I didn't get to go this weekend, but my old battalion, 3rd Battalion, 6th Marines, the crew from 2004 to 2006 did a bunch of deployments to Afghanistan and Iraq together. They just had their reunion in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and one of my old sergeants, Sergeant Childress, put that together for everybody, and everybody had a blast. Like I said, unfortunately, I didn't get to go, but a bunch of guys got to go out there and enjoy that. So
yeah, it's awesome. It's definitely that. I'm still connected to those guys I have not seen in years, but we still every once in a while, update each other, reach out, say hello, and didn't miss a beat the last decade or 2 or 3, whatever it's been. So it's wild. I don't want to say how long it's been, but
I know the feeling.
It's crazy, man. But thanks again, man. I know you're doing great things down there and looking out for our military and in the real estate world. But keep doing it, man. You got Carolina covered. I'll cover Virginia, and we'll keep rocking this thing out.
All right, that sounds like a plan. Take care, Terry.
Cool. Thanks, Stephen. Have a good one, boss.
You too.
Yep.
Bye now.
Bye.